Hello, it's OT Khaled. Hope you guys are doing well. So, I just had a game on DB. It was against Blue-Eyes Blue-Eyes Sinful Spoil, because I believe there's a bridge. You get to see it in the game. So, I just wanted to showcase a bit of what the deck could do. A couple of really cool interactions happened throughout this game. And yeah, let's just get right to it. These are the hands. He opened Imperm, Deception, Lordy Load, Elzer, and Fua. So two pieces of the different engines, and another just same copy, I guess. The Fua is a dead card, but it's a free pitch for his combo, I'm assuming. And yeah, I lost the dice roll, of course, as always, but it's fine because this deck is really good going second. So the opponent does a couple pretty cool plays here actually. So after he Ether Beryl sets the Drill Beam, he uses the Diabell to sack the Drill Beam and then set the Black Witch, and then he's able to reset the Drill Beam because he has a Prime Mind monster. So I thought that interaction was pretty cool. And then yeah, so how they access the engine is with Rosella. Yeah, she searches Sage with Eyes of Blue, that's it. And yeah, he ends up basically full comboing me. I'm assuming this is the way it is. He has Imperm, Draw, Hallowed. This card, I believe he makes Guardian Chimera with it. I've watched like other White Forest players make Guardian Chimera, so that's the card that I assumed that he was probably polying into. And then yeah. So his end board, let's just go through it quickly. So the Guardian Chimera, Polyspell, True Light, which gets him follow up, Deception, which I believe he wasn't supposed to set off the Diabell because it probably didn't mean the space for Imperm. He has Drill Beam and a Majesty, and I believe the Majesty is just a pop one in this scenario. Okay, and then my hand. Yep, I believe I just top deck Party. Yeah, top deck Party. So he goes first action True Light, and then I chain Fawn the Virtuous to pop it. This keeps him off having Drill Beam live. Them shotgunning the True Light early often means that they don't have Drill Beam already live, so that was an inference that I took. So I pop the True Light, and then my opponent has to go Mandatory Chain Link 1, and then immediately after I go Chain Link 2 Vision to draw 2. So this is me chain blocking the True Light, because I want to prevent him from being able to use Blue-Eyes Spirit Dragon to negate the Grave effect. But yeah, this way I could his board would get nuked and he would lose a bunch of value. But then he chains the Spirit to special summon from the extra deck. He first attempts to chain the Spirit to True Light, but I told him no, I'll be responding to the True Light. Then yeah, he tributes that. He summons this. He summons this so that he can reborn this or summon Blue-Eyes to make his Drill Beam live. And then I draw Chant and Tatsu, and I pitch the Memento Fusion. So then he resolves a bunch of his effects, and then I resolve Chant to search MST. So my whole idea is, I know he has Veiler, I don't know he has a Stroll or I don't know he has a draw, but like all I know is that I have to dodge this no matter what. But then the thing is, the Tatsu is always going to be able to dodge this. So the Bone Party is always going to be able to dodge this. And then the MST is always going to be able to dodge the Drill Beam on a Bone Party. But then in the worst case scenario, even in the scenario where I go like Zebra, Summon, Effect, Veiler, Chain Party, and then he goes Chain Drill Beam, target the Zebra, Party still resolves to pop Sleepy, so I feel like that's good enough. But I don't even believe I start with Tatsu in this game. Yeah, so I start with Sleepy here because the problem is that I don't want to summon Zebra just for him to Majesty pop it, and then all I would have is Sleepy, and I'd be forced to use Bone Party, which means I can never beat his Veiler outside of summoning Ang and then Droplet sacking. But at that game state I have to like search a normal, which is it's just too like I want to be able to use my dodge spells to like make him lose out on value and maximize my value. So I normal summon Sleepy, he lets this resolve. I summon Twin Dragon, he lets this resolve. I search Combined, I search Akihiron. So the reason why in this scenario, there's just nothing else to search. Yeah, I could search Trihorn, right? But the thing is that me having the Akihiron in hand and having like the add back, remember I haven't used the Memento Fusion engrave, so that means whenever I actually activate party in like in a weird game state where like I could like activate Zebra, then he goes Vela, I go Chain Bone Party, he goes Chain Drill Beam. Let's say he even banishes the horse, the Zebra. Then I go Chain Droplet, sack, negate one of his cards, and then the Bone Party pops the Akihiro and summons from deck. When the Zebra pops that monster, and then I basically get like Chaining 1, 2, 3, and I just get infinite amounts of plays. But yeah, I don't know why he didn't hit any of this. So the reason why I don't think he used Draw here, just in case any of you are wondering, he has the Sinful Spoils, the White Frost, which summons the Guardian Chimera, which the Chimera has to draw for you to resolve the effect. So I believe his reasoning is he didn't use draw so that he wouldn't turn off his Guardian Chimera as an interrupt. So I don't know if that's worth it. Me personally, I feel like I would have just opted just to activate the draw. But like this hand in general doesn't really die to draw anymore. I've already resolved my pop search too. I can't use my normal. I doubt I even need to use Anguish in this game state. So I go Zebra effect, he goes Chain Vela, so a really cool interaction happens here. So I ask him on summon or effect, he says on effect, so that's the best case scenario. So I go Banish Memento Fusion here. So I could Chain Bone Party here, but the thing is, because I've already, I don't have Sleepy on the, in rotation, well it's engrave, because I don't have Sleepy in deck or Akihiron in deck, there's nothing to like chain, pop, summon, then like the Zebra foolishes the cards, and then I also get the extra value of like Sleepy Sengatic, Akihiron add back. And I can't really do that in this scenario. So the thing is, I just want to get Fusion to my hand, because me being able to go activate Fusion, like what's going to be able to counter it? Only Bell. Outside of that, I'm just going to be able to win the duel, because if he tries to activate anything, I have MST and Droplet to dodge. And I also have Bone Party in that game state. So then so this is the cool interaction. So he goes chain to the Memento Fusion, target the Zebra to Draw Beam. And then I chain Bone Party, he chains Majesty. But the way that this will resolve is that the Majesty will pop the Zebra, and then the party will resolve to pop the monster in hand or field, but it has to resolve, so it pops the Akihiron in this game state. And then I trigger, then I search the Memento Fusion and pop the Gatic, because Memento Fusion still has to resolve. And then I'm going to go Chainlink 1 Akihiron to Reborn, Chainlink 2 Akihiron to add back from Grave. And the reason why I'm allowed to do this is because I pop the Akihiron from my hand, so that means I get the trigger effect to add back. But then I also summoned Gatic after popping the Akihiron, so it's in the grave now. And then when the Gatic touched the field, the Memento Fusion popped it, so I can also trigger the second effect of Akihiron, which was to reborn itself. That's how I used two effects in the same chain link. And Akihiron doesn't have any sort of like restriction, like, oh, you can only use one of the effects in the same chain. None of that. This card's just too broken. But yeah, so I just used the Akihiron to attack directly. So I go Memento Fusion. I know I have like endless ways to counter this card, like his cards now. I go Memento Fusion, summon King, King send free. So I do this so that I can banish, get field spell. And this is basically just so that I can combo a lot more and basically establish a lot more while also being able to kill him. So I go King, pop the Akihiron plus the known card, because I believe this was set in end phase. Oh no, this was set off Diabell, so I know this is the only unknown now. And then he makes Guardian Chimera, and then my King resolves. Then I go Chain 1 field spell, and then just to get some value, I chain MST, and then I chain Droplet to sack the MST and negate the Guardian Chimera. And now I'm able to reborn Darkblade. Darkblade pitches the combine for the free value, pop the field spell, Darkblade pops summon Anguish. Anguish hasn't used its effect yet. And then search, but I could have searched Trihorn, summon Sleepy, summon Trihorn, and did the whole like Radiant Typhoon line, access that, made Gobonga while still having King on the field. Oh, attack him directly while having absolutely everything, clearing his whole field. I could have done all that, but yeah, he scooped unfortunately, so I couldn't showcase that to you guys. But yeah, on to the next game. So yeah, this is when I realized like his deck has like he has to discard so much. And And I was unsure. I was unsure why he didn't just do the same play that he did earlier, where he summons the Ether Beryl and then uses the Diabell to sack. Because like, he could have just set the Drill Beam, sacked it, and then reset it. But yeah. I'm not trying to critique, by the way, I'm just pointing out certain lines that could have been done. Anyway, so yeah, he keeps playing, he has Solemn Strike. Decent cards in hand, to be honest. Oh yeah, he forgot to use Elzet as a Mina, so I just allowed him to go and do a take back. Yeah, so his end board, we'll go through it after he passes. Okay, so his end board is Drill Beam, Solemn Strike, Majesty, Seals, Spirit, Veiler. So I go Draw Phase Chance, Search MST. Also, yeah, my hands Tattoo, Fallen, Bone Party, Field Spell, Anguish. I did feel a bit of a way opening this, but I did think to myself that like, I feel like this would come up within the combo somewhere, and it does in a really cool way. I'll explain it when it gets to it. So he chains True Light to my Search MST. I chain FNV to pop the True Light. So now he doesn't get the Reborn back, which means his Drill Beam once again is definitely not live already because you wouldn't chain that. So now I get to search my MST, which is really cool because now when he activates the True Light, I get to respond first and go activate MST. And I randomly snipe the Drill Beam. So that was really nice. He chains Seals. Oh wait, I did actually just realize he never Seals is a mandatory trigger. He should have activated it. That's my mistake. So he uses Strike on my Anguish. So I didn't know whether this was on my effect or summon because it just happened so quickly. But like after I just assumed it would be on effect. So my opponent Veiler's here, and then due to the PTSD of what happened last game, where he popped this, and then I just popped the name in hand and still resolved full combo, he didn't decide to use the Majesty. So like this just basically goes to show that like Memento is just so difficult to interact with because your opponent just always thinks like if they just have the punish though, I just lose the duel because he's already whittled down to his last interrupt. Like you have to realize that Memento is unlike other decks where there's like clear choke points and all that. There's just so many punishes in Memento that it is like rather scary to play against in your opponent's perspective because if like for example this card, last card Memento Fusion, last card just a name in hand, and that also just beats Majesty. So it's like there's a lot of different punishes. So I understand why he opted against it, but like this is, but also like I believe that I had to play perfectly for me to like win. Actually, I do feel like I could have played a bit better. When I get it reborn, I should have added back Memento Fusion and then just Memento Fusion summon King send free, King pop his card, his back row just to force the Majesty. But then I add back Sleepy because I had an idea. So I wanted a way to just like guarantee force the Majesty. But the thing is, this Majesty, this game, is a pop 2. So the difference is that I'm going to activate Field Spell here, and then my opponent is going to not chain anything here, but I can banish Memento Fusion to pop the Gatic. So my opponent knows I have Sleepy. This card can only fuse with monsters in hand or field. I have Field Spell and Gatic. My opponent's thinking in his head, if I Majesty pop these two here, he doesn't get the Memento Fusion search, he doesn't get the Sleepy effect to fuse and do blah blah blah, but then I had a different plan. So he chains Majesty and just instantly targets my cards. I tell him just one moment. I summon Sleepy. So this means that if he Majesty pops these two, I still get my trigger Field Spell to reborn the mace that's over here. But then if he Majesty pops this and this, then the Memento Fusion resolves and pops the Sleepy and searches Fusion. So no matter what he does here, he loses the duel. So like this is like a really cool aspect of like someone like thinking that they could get value, but then Memento is just like such a strong deck that even opening card like Field Spell works out to my benefit. Then I searched Memento Fusion. I did do a little bit of a misplay here, where I searched a card that wasn't combined by accident. Like I thought I hadn't used Anguish yet, so I thought when I reborn the twin, it would reborn Ang and search the combined, but then that was just me botting out. I did ask him if I could go back, and he was generous enough to say yes. So I Twin Dragon effect, pop search 2, and then yeah, the game shortly ends after this. So yeah, I'll ask him if I can go back, because he just reminds me that I did use Anguish's effect and he striked it on the effect, not on the summon. So I just go Memento Fusion, I shuffle back the same 2, pop search, get combined, get Akihiron, and then because he paid for strike, he has 6,500 life, 5k with Bone Party defense piercing, plus 2k this game. So I just battle into both his monsters, and that's how I win the duel. Like sometimes, like even though my hand wasn't like the absolute greatest, the thing is, and I have no follow up, no nothing. All I have is like 4 on the Virtuous and set Memento Fusion and end phase. Like neither does anything, because I have no other name in rotation. So like it was just a Hail Mary like moment to win. I could have maybe like done a bit more. For example, Memento Fusion summon Twin pop search to summon King, summon Sleepy effect to fuse make King, but I just felt like this was just a safer way to do it, and I just wanted to. I just felt like in my head that this would be the best way just to win right now, because I didn't want to like play into like too much stuff. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about any of the any decisions I made, I didn't go through in as much detail, let me know. Always feel free to write down anything in the comment section below. Also in the extra deck, I wrote this in one of the comments for one of my videos. Necroquip is Proxy F. I cut the Necroquip because I did start sort of really think to myself that playing Necroquip just means that you want to be ending on like hiking through like hand traps, but the thing is playing Proxy F means that I can always like resolve my combo. Like having 4 ways to poly is just really strong in Memento, because you have Sequence, Proxy F, Twin Dragon, Fusion. So like it basically just makes you like play through hand traps a lot better. And in this deck, like you have like access to way more bodies, so it feels a lot better. So I believe that yeah, Proxy F is definitely better than Necroquip. And yeah, I hope you guys like the deck. I know Blue-Eyes isn't the most meta deck, but I do believe that it's a strong rogue deck, which puts up like a strong amount of interrupts. I do feel like if he hadn't set the imperm, I might have lost that game 1. But like these things can happen. People can make misplays. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you like the content and if you want to see more. Have a lovely day. Bye bye.